certainly semiconductors is a huge area.
Do you have any insight on how far behind we are in the AI race?
It's the most significant development in technology since the personal computer. They identified 44 and said China was in the lead in 37.
What would be the top 5 you think we need to invest in?
Well, certainly semiconductors is a huge area because semiconductors are what drives a lot of the economy, and we're completely dependent on suppliers outside the United States for semiconductors. That's a disastrous situation. The Trump administration tried to start turning the wheel on that. The Trump administration, the Biden administration passed the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act didn't have enough money, but more than that, the CHIPS Act now has started to bring all this social policy on top of it, which is exactly what the big fear is. But semiconductors is one for sure. Artificial intelligence is one for sure. You're seeing the power of artificial intelligence and chatbot, the power and the risk, the threat. I mean, it's scary. Certainly quantum science, which allows for all sorts of developments in other areas. I think probably life sciences. There's huge genetic steps being taken that have huge implications for national security, for the economy. Maybe satellites, I don't know. But there's 5 or 6 big ones that have huge opportunity.
Do you have any insight on how far behind we are in the AI race?
I really don't. I mean, first of all, it's it's very hard to decipher, and then you see a breakthrough like chatbot, and that gives you it gives me 2 reactions at the same time. Wow, like mesmerizing, like what the power of that thing could be, and whoa, scary. Mm-hmm. What that might do at home, but also in the hands of somebody else. And I was speaking, a couple weeks ago with the CEO of Microsoft. I saw him at something, and we're friends. And I said, tell me about this. Like, what do you think? And he said, it's the most significant development in technology since the personal computer.
Oh, wow.
He said, this is huge, and it's going to have enormous consequences, some of which we don't even begin to know yet. So that's
good consequences or bad consequences?
Well, I think it could be both. Yeah, could be both.
Do you have any, can you give us some insight on any of those consequences?
Well, one of the things that it certainly is doing is, it's just like the personal computer was and the internet was, it could be highly disruptive to businesses. Because if you think about, businesses that require people to write things, or people that require people to, process data or things like that, this has an ability to replace all that in a nanosecond. So I imagine as it becomes more mainstream, it could result in very significant disruption in some industries, elimination of jobs. Now, it may create other opportunities and jobs on the other side. It's a little too early to tell, but at a minimum, this is creating a huge pressure on business models that are hugely, or opportunity, depending how you look at it, on business models that are highly dependent on human processing.
They could recreate this entire interview and have you saying something completely different.
Yes, that's the scary. So your capacity to take all the information and present something that would be credible as the words or ideas of others, when in fact they weren't, is very plausible. I mean, there's 2 scary things about it. One scary thing is they could do that and present an interview that's not far from this. That's one scary thing. Another scary thing is they might present an interview that seems very credible, that's completely different than this. And there lies the problem, because one of the things that I found on the campaign trail, I'm sure you find it with your listeners and your interviewees, people have lost trust. They've lost trust in their leaders. They've lost trust in the church. They've lost trust in the military. They've lost trust in business leaders. They've lost trust in government. The trust levels are, 15, 20%. Schools, they've lost trust in schools. They've lost trust in the media. They've lost trust in the accuracy of the information they receive. And this, if used poorly, could just reinforce that. I mean, who am I really talking to? What is really being said? Is it actually? And so, you start to think about like an existential question: how does a society run if nobody trusts anything? Right? That's the worry I have, and finding leaders that can give people faith, are forthright, can lead through this, deal with these complexities. It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's this AI stuff scares the hell out of me. I mean, for anybody that's not putting this together, they could replicate the president of the United States and have him saying something completely different that looks 100% real.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and that's, by the way, well, we'll get to that in my third part of the book we talk about, but part of that is the inaccuracies and the lack of trust in social media in particular. And that's a big thrust, but the absence of privacy on our information combined with the pervasiveness of a social media narrative that's often completely inaccurate and misleading, that's feeding the mistrust.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.